for tuning in to the Wing Space podcast. This podcast is not a replacement for mental health treatment or professional health care. In case of crisis or emergency, please contact your local healthcare provider or dial 911.
Hey there, and welcome to the Wing Space podcast, a place to take up space. Welcome to season 5, where we are talking about all things related to the 5 pillars of wellness. We're talking about things like food and movement and sleep and stress and relationships. And I'm super excited to welcome one of our own team members, Carlin Davinsizer, who is one of our pelvic floor physical therapists. Carlin, it's so great to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm going to give you an opportunity to tell our listeners who you are and what you do, and then we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of what this pelvic floor physical therapy stuff is all about.
Yeah, that sounds great. So I'm Carlin Davinsizer. I'm a pelvic health physical therapist. I'm a military spouse, and that's what brought me to the area. And I have 2 little girls who would like to be called Elsa and Anna most of the time. And so I started out as a general orthopedic physical therapist, but then going through my first pregnancy and childbirth, I realized that just because I'm a PT, that didn't necessarily mean that I knew how to solve my own pelvic floor problems. And so I needed to take matters into my own hands. So I learned as much as I could. I took various courses and started practicing and experimenting with myself and other people. And so now I've finally found my way in providing pelvic health physical therapy to primarily pregnant and postpartum moms. But once you're postpartum forever. And so that extends along the lifespan of just being a mom.
We had a conversation the other day in one of our meetings, and someone made a comment about being 17 years postpartum, because she has a 17-year-old. Once we are postpartum, we are always there. But welcome to the podcast. We're excited to have you and have this conversation. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about the work that you've done so far here at Hope and Healing? And if you want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff you do outside of these walls, that's great too, just so that they kind of get an idea of the work that you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started my own business so that I could see moms individually, one-on-one. But I've also had this wonderful opportunity to be a part of the Hope and Healing team. And I just appreciate their mission and how they emphasize wellness, like total body wellness, because issues with your pelvic floor, they do affect your mental health too. And so it's important to take care of your body just for your own health and to support your family. So I've had the privilege of getting to teach a pregnant and postpartum small group exercise class where it is group physical therapy, but it's for moms who say they are already on their journey of addressing pelvic floor or core symptoms, and they want to learn more about how to improve their fitness level and return to where they were before, or even better than where they were before, or if they're pregnant and they're trying to take preventative measures and learn how to prepare for birth and labor in a way that they want to, and prepare for the postpartum period. So we've been meeting early Saturday mornings so that the kids are taken care of, and you can have some time to yourself to learn how to move intentionally and with purpose so that you are healing and preventing issues. Doesn't matter how you gave birth or how you're planning on giving birth. It's a great way to have some guidance from a physical therapist on how to move well so that we can promote healing naturally as we're moving about our day and just get stronger for ourselves and for our family.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's been a really exciting new service to watch grow here at the center. You did your first class in the fall, and then we've done a second class right after the holidays, and we are recording this just prior to a third round of class. Looking at the date, it's actually starting tomorrow. So when this episode is launched and people are listening, we're going to be, kind of gearing up to finish that third class with intentions of offering this class again. So obviously we want to make sure our listeners, if they are prenatal, they're currently expecting and soon to deliver, or even early on in the pregnancy. I mean, just to be preventative and proactive, or if they are postpartum of any kind, that this class is for you. So you can always check us out on our website and see Carlin's classes and join us on one of those Saturdays. I've had Jenna Holmes on our podcast before, who's also a pelvic floor, pelvic health physical therapist, and she does individual work rather than group work. And she also treats men. So how might the men who are listening, who have not yet turned this episode off, how can they support their spouse, their partner in being able to find health and strength within the pelvic floor?
That is a wonderful question, because any mom like myself, I know firsthand, if you're dealing with any pelvic floor issues, it affects more than just yourself. It does affect your relationship with your spouse, with your kids, with your friends and family, because some symptoms and diagnoses can feel very disheartening, and sometimes they can even feel devastating. Like if you have a prolapse and it can be nerve wracking and you don't know what to do, or you have pelvic pain or pain with intimacy, or you're just feeling embarrassed about leaking in certain situations. I think that husbands, partners, spouses, just being able to recognize when spouse is experiencing some things that are feeling hard and difficult, and giving them the support and the time, especially time to take care to take care of herself, whether that is joining a group class or doing one-on-one therapy. Because if the mom isn't well supported and taken care of, then the family isn't either. And so my wish for every mom is that they feel supported by their family and providers, and that they have the guidance that they're looking for, and they're empowered with knowledge from various providers too, so that you and your family can be happy and live and feel strong and grow your family, and just not be weighed down by any sort of symptoms that feel super heavy, like maybe even literally heaviness.
Yeah. And some of that untangible, like we can't really put our hands around the support that we're asking for these ladies to have, but time, right? 8:30s on Saturday morning, give mom that time to go to the class, to maybe go grab some coffee afterwards, have a little bit of quiet time before getting back into momming on a Saturday morning. Time is really important. It's so interesting to me, and I don't know all of the statistics, so I'm probably going to sound like I'm exaggerating this when I say it, but I've seen reports before that show, like, if we quantify pain, then the amount of pain that women feel during childbirth is beyond any pain that other human, that people feel at any other time, aka men don't really have any concept of how much pain women actually go through. And pain is just the outward presentation of all of the changes that are happening within our bodies as our pelvic is opening up, and muscles and ligaments and tendons are stretching, and organs are moving around to make space for this human being in our bellies. So there's so much happening. And, women have been dropping babies in fields for eons, generations and generations. But we're at a place in life where we're smarter than that now. And we know that moms need a little bit of love and care, and they need to have that opportunity to take care of themselves. What can you share with those listeners that might be in that prenatal, maybe early postpartum time, and they're thinking, well, I don't really know, like, is this class for me? Am I having problems? I thought this was normal. I thought eventually it would go away. What do you have to share with them?
That's a helpful question to answer so that you can make a decision. You don't necessarily have to have any symptoms to join the class, because yes, it is group physical therapy, but it's also, we're exercising, and everything is tailored to the female body because it's just different. And so we have to learn how to regulate our pressure, whereas men don't necessarily have they don't have to think about that. And whether you are in your pregnancy and you think, maybe I'm going for a VBAC or whatever kind of birth you want. You want to prepare your body for it and feel strong going into your postpartum period because, maybe your mom or your grandma has a history of prolapse and there's a genetic component to that. And you're thinking, I want to prevent these kinds of issues for myself. So I want to learn from a PT. I want to have guided exercise that I can do on my own so I feel more confident in myself and knowing I'm not going to hurt myself. I'm going to get stronger. Then this is a great opportunity for you. If you're in the early postpartum phase, it is a wonderful idea to have an evaluation from a pelvic floor physical therapist, whether you have symptoms or not early on. Sometimes things take a while to develop just to be checked, and you just for your own sense of security too. And if you're within a year postpartum, 2, 3, however many years, and you're feeling as though I want to return to fitness, I want to return to whatever sport or desired activity, but I'm not quite sure how to get there. I have some back pain, or I'm experiencing some leaking or some heaviness, and I just want to learn the fundamentals and help lay down my foundation because now my body has gone through so much compensations from pregnancy that I kind of need to regroup and get my movement patterns down so that I can go lift, go run, play tennis, swim, whatever your desire is. This is a great place for you. So it fits a lot of different moms in different stages of their motherhood. But in the end, everybody wants to move well because it helps protect our pelvic floor, our core, our back, just so we can avoid injuries, avoid feeling any sort of pain. That's my motivating factor is that I don't want to feel anything. I never want to feel heaviness or pain. And so I want to learn how to move well. And that's my passion, is teaching other moms how to do the same.
Your passion really comes through and your excitement really comes through. And I love that, because when we are doing things that we are passionate about, it radiates through the space that we're in. And your group has grown of the moms. We have repeat moms. We have that core group is kind of expanding as you've had more classes. And the other thing I would say that your class is providing is an opportunity for community, an opportunity for connection. I have a 17-year-old and an almost 19-year-old. And, I have friends that I've known since high school. We're super close, and we text back and forth and meet regularly and, all the things. And I don't really remember us back in the day really talking about all the things we were experiencing, because I know I was embarrassed about, certain things that were happening. Now I realize they were totally normal. And if I had had another mom, my own mom was super great. My mother-in-law was great, but somebody my age who had just gone through the same thing, that community helps. And what we have noticed is that because we're trying to create that community, and the community is kind of organically being created, there's a potential, what's the word I'm looking for? It is likely that the older moms, I'll put myself in that category, may not feel comfortable being in a class with, new moms who are pregnant or freshly given birth and things like that. So I do want to kind of turn us in the direction of talking about perimenopause. But before I do that, anything else you want to make sure that our prenatal, postnatal moms hear today before we switch gears a little?
You brought up community, and I just want to remind moms of that again, is that is what is so fun about it being a group class, is that moms need to stick together, and it's fun to share your birth stories and your progress and make new friends and support each other who we're in different stages of our motherhood, but we can commiserate and we can support each other. And it's fun to all experience aha moments together where you realize, oh my gosh, I didn't know I could feel my glute. Like I have a glute. Wow, this is great. And then, you're having fun. You're having fun together.
Yeah, that's awesome. So to switch gears, in the same way that I shared about, I don't think people are necessarily having these conversations because things are, embarrassing, and is it just me, or I don't know. As we get into that, 35 to 55-ish range, that's a 20-year time span that women are entering perimenopause. They're beginning to have the strangest symptoms in the world. And we've picked up on that. We've noticed that. And I'm so grateful for you and for other members of our team who have said, this is another group of ladies that we need to work with. So as we are recording this, we are actively working to put together some programming for perimenopause women. If we've got those 35 to 50-year-old women who are listening to this, what can you share with them in terms of maybe the normalcy of what they're experiencing, or what they might look forward to in some programming of their own that we're going to offer here?
It's great to bring up this age range of women because I never want to forget about you all. You guys are special. Your kids are older, and yes, your kids are not as dependent on you, but you're still very much involved in sports and activities and raising them to be good people. And once you're postpartum, you're always postpartum, and symptoms that you have can crop up at any time. And this phase of your life is also a time of change because hormones are dropping, and so that's affecting the tissues down there and their strength and their resilience, and it can affect relationships, you know, intimacy and relationships in this period too. And so it is important to be talking about these things with your friends and seeking out providers who are addressing these issues that happen at this stage of your life. And it would be great for us to start like a group class or just a community for these moms, because we can still address like pelvic floor symptoms now, and you can always be improving. You can always be getting better, and preparing for what's coming, which is menopause. We can prepare for that. We can get stronger because we know that osteoporosis and osteopenia are things that can happen as our estrogen drops, because that's really important for bone remodeling and learning how to eat well and fuel our bodies, move well so that we are strong, because now it's like we're training for the next stage of our life. Like, we're not newly postpartum carrying babies around, and we're not training for those things, but now we're training for menopause and approaching a new time of wisdom and self professional success. Like, that's who you are now at this age. You're like a beautiful, wise professional, and you deserve to be seen and heard and provided for and taught how to be strong and prepare and train for what's coming.
Carlin, you were, looking at the screen, but looking at me while you were saying all those things. And so I felt it in my soul. And I just want our listeners to know that Carlin was not talking to me directly. She was talking to all of us collectively. So if you didn't really catch all of those wonderful accolades that she just provided, I'm going to encourage you to hit, the 30-second rewind, or go back a couple little clips and listen to that again, because it really is true that we're in a different place in our life, and it shouldn't be like this downward spiral of things. And we've, at this point, when you get into perimenopause, we have spent a significant period of our lives taking care of other people. And, gosh darn it, it's time to take care of ourselves, because there's so much more life ahead of us, right? I mean, I'm 46, and I've got a whole lot of more years ahead of me as far as I'm concerned. God might have other plans, but I want it to be active. I want to be engaged. I want to not be in pain and all of those things. So we are putting together programming for our perimenopause moms. We're going to create some community around that. We're going to create some physical engagement, some mental health coping skills, some nutrition guidance, like really the whole shebang, looking at those 5 pillars of wellness, because we also know that, the old saying of like, if mom's not happy, nobody's happy, or, a happy wife is a happy life. Those are cliches and kind of jokes, but the truth of the matter is, if we're miserable as the matriarch of our family, then it does bleed into other places and other relationships, and that just makes things no fun. So those older moms, 35 to 50, we see you, we hear you, we've got things coming for you, and we're excited to bring you into the fold here at Hope and Healing. Carlin, this was really great information. I know I really appreciate everything you've shared. Any last minute thoughts or ideas, information you want to make sure that our listeners have before we sign off?
Yeah, I've had a great time talking to you, Jen. And yes, I do tend to look at you because I want you and all of your friends to know, no, you're not old. No, you women are so beautiful, so wise, and yes, you deserve to be supported during this time of change. And so hopefully we can put together a really great program where, yes, you can take care of yourself because you deserve that. And just moms of any age, yes, I wish that for everyone, and that's why I feel so strongly about it. You deserve to move well and fuel yourself and be happy. And also, it doesn't need to be that hard. Like what you're learning and practicing, it doesn't need to be hard. It can be done, and we can always be getting better. And so hopefully you will find a way to feel supported and meet like-minded women to share these times with.
Awesome. As always, listeners, you can email me directly if you have questions or thoughts or ideas. If you want to have questions for Carlin, Jennifer at hopehealingtherapy.com. You can send us a message on our socials. Carlin, where can people find you directly if they wanted to? I know we have you featured on our website, but where can they find you otherwise outside of Hope and Healing, kind of in that virtual space?
Yeah, so I have my own business where I can also see moms one-on-one in their homes. So you can find me at drcarlindpt.com.
Perfect. Again, Carlin, thanks so much for joining me today. Listeners, thank you for your time and thank you for listening. And I hope you have a great day.